Yeah, there you go. Woo.
Oh, well, what we were saying earlier is this is kind of you and I run a live performance venue. And we thought in this time that it would be really awesome to hear from some of the artists that we host at Bez. And last week we had Carol Luft, and this week we have the amazing Graham Ord. So let's, hey Graham!
Hello, my lovelies.
Graham
How are
comes
you?
to us all the way from Kelowna, and we're so glad you're here.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here with you. Yeah, it's good.
How's it been cooped up with your, how many children now?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, what a joy to just be locked up with your family. It's fantastic. It really is. I love it, actually. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
How many children do you have at home right now?
I don't know. I can't remember.
As in day to day right now.
I can't remember. No, we have 5. There's 5 at home.
5 at home.
Yeah.
And so that must have lots of interesting dynamics to it.
No. No, it's good. They get on really well, actually. It's great. Yeah, we have lots of fun. We always up to something or other. So yeah, it's good. Go out for walks and things and play music and stuff together. It's kind of good. Yeah, it's nice.
Wonderful, wonderful. And have you gotten really creative in this time?
Not any more creative than I normally am.
No. Okay. What does that mean?
No.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm always trying to be creative. My head goes really weird if I don't do creative things. So I have to keep doing something or other, you know?
Yeah.
So making things or writing things or learning stuff and all that, you know? So I've been learning the pedal steel. I don't know if you can see that, but it's here next to me.
Go widescreen here. Let's do the grand.
Yeah. So I've been really trying to do that a bit each night. And me and my dad are in the middle of making a record online. Like, he lives in England and I live here, obviously in Canada. So we're trying to write some stuff there together. In fact, one of the songs I want to do today is one of the songs that we're going to record together. So I got my kids involved here at home, and we've got a little room next door here where we got all the drum kit all set up and stuff and whatever, and we're going to make a record together in isolation.
Awesome.
So it'll be good.
That is
so
awesome.
we're doing lots of creative stuff.
Well, do you wanna start then with a song for us?
Sure, yeah, that'd be great.
Let's go there, and then we'll chat a bit more in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, this is I really like this song. I originally heard the blues band in the UK. I used to play in a venue called the Torrington, which is in North Finchley in London. And when I was a youngster, and I used to play there, it was a great blues venue. And one of the bands that was there quite regularly was the blues band with Paul Jones was in that band, and a great harmonica player. Anyway, this is a song I heard them doing, and it's called "Come On in My Kitchen." It goes like this. This is my version of it. Come on in my kitchen, said the spider to the fly. Come on in, baby, we'll have a little fun before we die. I know you want me, I want you too. Come on in and I'll show you what to do. You got to come on in my boudoir. We'll turn the lights down low. Come on in, I'll show you everything I know. don't you? You want me to? Come on in, babe, and I'll show you what to do. You got to come on into my kitchen. We turn the lights down low. Come on in, and I'll show you everything I know. Come on in, I'll show you everything, show you everything, show you everything I know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there you go.
Wonderful.
I love it.
Thank you.
Now, is that one of the new songs, or is that
No.
that's for a while?
That's an old. Oh no, I'll do the new one a bit later. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
No, that was something from an old club.
Yeah, I got that. I suddenly realized that. Hey, Graham, in this time when, especially when artists are, pretty much hitting only online type of performances, it kind of is in a state where, people could take or leave artists.
Right, yeah.
Because there's so many other things that are fascinating us, Tiger Kings and things like that. and so I'm wondering from you, as kind of an encouragement to the value of artists, what do you feel is the most important part about what you do?
Wow, Sandy. You never cease to amaze me with your good question. I wish you'd asked me that before so I could think about it. That's an interesting one. I have been thinking about that. Like I watched a little live stream the other day, like with Paul Simon sitting in his living room with Edie Brickell, singing.
Wow.
And I thought, how kind of cool is that? That it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, here am I sitting in my little room here, and kind of doing the same thing. And it's kind of interesting in that sense. And it's kind of made me kind of realize that there is artists are artists. I was thinking about this the other day. There was a man sitting outside the shop playing his guitar, what some might call as begging with his guitar. And it just struck me. I thought, actually, when I play in some fancy wine bar or something like that or whatever, we're just doing the same thing. Yeah. It's just the venue's different, and it, in that sense, it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, and it's refreshing. It's cool, And so, yeah, and what I've also really enjoyed is watching a few artists that I really admire, who are, good musicians and stuff, and they're sitting in their house with their iMac on, or whatever it is, and they're just like recording a little concert and stuff, and it's really unprofessional, and it's kind of, it's kind of cool. I really like that. So, yeah.
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 And these days, what is helping you to feel the most up? What things are kind of contributing to you feeling up and positive?
Well, the marijuana really helps.
I like how you say that, marijuana.
Yeah. In England, we call it Mary Jew bananas. No, I don't smoke marijuana anymore, but what makes me up? That's a good question, because there are many times, I think artistic people are live on their nerves and their feelings a lot anyway, right? So I have my days of, where I'm not feeling great, whether there's a pandemic going on or not. But I think I have noticed that there have been times when I've really, especially at first when I didn't know what was going on, I was really freaked out at first. I was like, what is this all about? This is really weird, Yeah. But what makes me I think you asked the question at the beginning about the creative stuff, and I think for me the thing that keeps me up is doing things that are creative, you know. So just finding things to do that are where I'm actually making stuff or doing stuff with the kids, or you know, stuff like that. Just, you know, keeping my head out of boredom. But I'm like that anyway. Like I really miss performing live and stuff with my buddies and stuff. I really miss it. You know, I miss them and I miss playing. You know, I just love being in front of people and seeing people dancing in front of you and bringing joy to people. I really love that. You know, so yeah, it's tough.
And that really comes back to the value of the artist too. That you know, I think that is part of what we're missing. It's one thing to be sitting in our living rooms listening to your music. It's another thing to be able to be interactive with it and bring joy to everybody. Yeah.
Well, it's strange because if you're a musician, you'll get this, right? But usually you're a bit of a geek when you're learning at home. Anyone who's any good at anything is usually a bit of a geek and a bit of a social misfit in some ways, you know. And that's what it takes to become good at it. And then the weird thing is that you have to overcome that, and then you have to kind of get in front of people and overcome the you know, the very things that made you good at what you do. You have to overcome. And so it is weird, but you do realize you're right. You know, playing at home is great and all that, and it's good, but there's something about getting in front of people. And even coming online, I kind of felt a little bit nervous, and I thought, this is a good feeling. That's the feeling I've known for years, you know, just that feeling of like, I hope this goes all right, you know.
Truly.
And then the internet goes down, and then you're like, it's great, it's just like a normal gig. No one spilt beer on all my chords yet. You know?
Do you want to do another song for us, Justin?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Graham?
Yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. This is another song that I really like. It's a song by his name is Blind Alfred Reed. I think if you're a blues singer, you've got to be blind something or other, haven't you, or something like that. But anyway, this is Blind Alfred Reed, and he wrote this song in the 20s, and it still resonates, I think, today. So I'd like to do this one. Well, I remember the days when food was cheap, but the prices these days, they're enough to make a grown man weep. You go to pay your grocery bill, and it feels like you're making your will. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? And then the doctor comes around with his face so bright, and he says, in just a little while, everything's gonna be alright. All you get is a humble pill, a dose of whites, and a great big bill. Tell me, how can a poor man stand certain times and live? Tell me, how can a poor man stand certain times and live? Oh yeah. most preachers these days, they preach for gold and not for souls. And that's the very thing that keeps a poor man down in the hole. Oh, I can hardly catch my breath when you preach there. Have to dare. Tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live? Oh yeah, tell me, how can a poor man stand such times and live?
Apropos.
Yeah.
Good for now.
Wow.
Good for now. That's great.
Thank you.
Wow.
Glad you like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Graham, quick question. Do you
Yes.
have speakers on in your room?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
We,
I don't.
you know, just to
Nope, I
be
don't have
totally
anything on.
honest and vulnerable, you know, any of the little technical glitches that are coming your way, we're trying to resolve as we go.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is maybe something we can talk to you about like we did with Kara last week. How are you feeling about this whole thing of artists needing to become jack of all trades? So, you know, now suddenly Russ has spent most of his week trying to work on making sure that all the, you know, what we're trying to stream is working. And then obviously at the last minute, suddenly it didn't work. And I know the kind of stress that it brings us. How is that for you? What's happening with you on the trying to be jack of all trades thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is stressful, isn't it? Like I'm not really I don't know much about computers and things like that. So yeah, even trying to figure out to do this today with you guys, it was quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because I don't know all the kind of back end of computer stuff very much.
Yeah.
So, but thank God for YouTube, eh? I mean,
Yeah.
my goodness. Yeah.
Well,
So,
and you know what? Thank God for technicians and sound guys, because
Yeah.
we all get to appreciate that now.
Yeah.
At the same time, there is still this crazy expectation, I guess, from us as well as anybody else, that we've got to figure all this out. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Challenging.
it's kind of challenging, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to learn some new things, you know. So, but it does make you realize that there are some people who are experts. Like I've been doing some video editing and stuff like that for our community, and I'm really bad at it, you know what I mean? But my son Lucas, he's 21. He took over, and I'm like, you know, I said to him, it's nowhere near as good as mine, but no, he did it way better than me, and he just realized, oh well, that's okay.
And I'm kind of sensing we're learning how to connect with a broader audience around the world, and so we need to learn this video stuff. I would rather not. I'd rather have someone show up with the camera here and take care of it all, and I just want to sing songs and tell stories. But the isolation has forced us to say, no, it's important. If we really want to connect beyond the audiences that we have around us, you know, even when we come out of this pandemic time, we need to learn these tools. And so it's been an interesting journey. And I'm loving how so many different organizations are trying to find answers and trying to get artists on stream and stuff. And I was even noticing you have your music on Bandcamp. Is that right? I think that's where your web is. Bandcamp offers no charge to the artist. They've done it a couple times. They're doing one today. So anybody that buys any artist music on Bandcamp, Bandcamp gives the full amount to the artist. And last time they did it, they sold a record number of and you know, people say no one buys downloads or CDs anymore. Well, maybe that's true, but somehow during this time, it was happening in a big way. And I was thinking maybe they should go and buy some of your music today, buy some Graham Ord on Bandcamp, and get. That's a really cool thing. So everybody's sort of trying to find ways of putting new value into the artist being on stream and the value of connecting with audiences in this way, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hard because in the more recent times, I think everyone would know who's playing a lot is the place where you make money is just playing live. Really, you don't sell that many CDs or anything like that anymore. So yeah, for me, I haven't noticed any difference. Yeah, you talk about jack of all trades. I've always had 5 jobs, you know. So
Yeah, indeed you have. You have. And you had mentioned the community that you're working with. Do you want to let people know kind of what you're involved with, because we're finding that particularly inspirational, that you aren't just a musician, but you are part of a community that's connecting in with others in Kelowna.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. So you would know all about this, Sandy, because your dad was my hero
Oh.
in this stuff. Because he was doing it long before I even was born, probably.
Yeah.
But he in Kelowna here we have probably like I know for a fact like in Langley because I know some of the people there. But we do have quite a number of people who are homeless and a number of people who are homeless and also addicted and have kind of mental health issues and things like that, which compounds the whole thing as well. So we have a number of people who are homeless who actually are working and they're homeless. You'd be absolutely amazed. Well, you wouldn't, but there are. I was amazed when I first started to get involved downtown, just how many people who would call themselves homeless are actually working and who show up at the job center each day and get casual work and stuff like that, but then they have nowhere to go after. Mm-hmm. So that's a demographic that there is. The other side is, there are some who just aren't coping very well, and that's very sad, especially in this time now where like people are getting all funny about isolating and stuff like that, but that's actually the plight of many people all the time. Just to feel isolated and alone, and they definitely is a community of people who are on the street. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. It's very interesting right now in the sense that I've come to realize over the years that because I've seen it happen quite a lot. Well, not quite a lot, but occasionally I see it happen, where someone who is just like us, who they got a home and they got everything seemingly going well for them and whatever, and then they realize, something happens in their life, something goes wrong, a relationship breaks down, or they lose work, or they have some mental health issues or addiction things and whatever, and it takes such a short time to go from being relatively well, to being homeless. Yeah. And only takes about 6 weeks or so, really. That's all it takes. Yeah. And then, because most of us don't have that much resource. So if you don't have family around you or other resource like that, it's very difficult. And I think that's what a lot of people fear, even in this pandemic.
Well,
people
yeah.
are like,
I mean, isn't that the reality check for all of us? Were it not for the government helping to bail a lot of us out, that's how quick it happens. My business is closed for a couple of weeks, a month, and that's how quick it would be. So, great compassion for those people. Absolutely.
Yeah. So our little community, we have a drop-in centre that's open every day. We're able to feed people. We've started a place for people to be able to shower and wash their clothes and things. And we're working with some other organisations in town here, BC Housing being a big one, obviously, as well, which is amazing. But yeah, just doing some stuff. I mean, I don't want to take credit for that because I don't actually. There's other people who do way more than me, but I really enjoy being part of the whole thing and
Awesome.
doing my bit, in
Awesome.
it all. I was down there this morning, and it's tough. It's tough to see people who are on the streets and just struggling. It's good to do our little bit,
Yeah. Awesome. I'm just thinking right now, maybe we give you a little bit of a break, a breather, and Russ will do
I'll do a song.
a song.
Sure.
And you can.
And everybody keeps saying things about the volume of Sandy and my microphone. Our little meter says that it's really loud here. So I don't know why it's not coming through on the other end. But this one is a song I made up just last year. And it's I think it's about finding beauty in the midst of everything, and even in the midst of difficult and challenging times. It's a bit of a reggae dance tune. So, dance around. Graham, I'm hoping you'll dance around your little studio. Wait a second. Let me get that D string. I'm coming up to an E string. When there's beauty all around me and my soul is taken by surprise, all I want to do is to thank you for life. And when there's darkness in the canyon and I'm feeling fear start to rise, all I got to do is to thank you for life. I'm alive, oh, and I thank you. I'm alive, oh, and I thank you. I'm alive, oh, and I thank you, yeah. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-day. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-day. In the forest, as the fragrance of the cedars and the sage ease my mind, all I wanna do is to thank you for life. And when the wind howls and the waves pound and the pressure makes it hard to even try, all I got to do is to thank you for life. Yes, I'm alive, oh, and I thank you. I'm alive, oh, and I thank you. I'm alive, oh, and I thank you, yeah. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-day. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-day. Come on, everybody, sing along the big ba-ba-da-da. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-da-day. Ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-day.
Somebody said that you're really good at interpretive dance, Graham. You got that one?
That was beautiful. I love your dancing.
Yeah, I like that song, Russ. That's great.
Thank you.
I really like that. It's great.
Justin, what is going on here?
It's okay. It's been busy. Just a quick, Sandy has been working overtime to make sure that our little Bez venue stays alive, talking with government agencies and lobby groups and landlords and artists and everybody to try to organize how we keep this thing alive. And she's doing it. She's killing it. Anyways, you're allowed to say that Graham is Justin. He's not, but
but Graham, that's what we've always loved about you is that you bring so much life everywhere you go. And I probably hear more laughter from you than ever sadness. But are there things that ever bum you out, that make you feel frustrated? I know there are, but...
Yeah, working with Russ has been very difficult. No.
You were on tour with
Russ.
Russ.
That's not true. I love Russ so much. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things, yeah. God, yeah. So I'm trying to think of things at the moment. I think relational stress is really hard for me to deal with, to be really honest, yeah. I like to try and think the best of people, try and get on well with people and stuff like that. That's a high value for me, but of course it's not always possible. So yeah, that causes me a lot of stress and yeah, just relational conflict and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah,
so
because you're completely a relational guy. You're all about paying attention to what's going on with people. And that's really important value for you, I get the sense.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So that's definitely one thing, and and then I see it's interesting you working with a community that works quite a lot with people that are struggling a lot. The capacity to carry that is, for me, is quite small. So I know some people do much better with it, but it's very hard when you hear someone's story and then you go home and you're like, wow, that's not just a story I read on the internet. That is actually so-and-so on the street, you know, like who, and you lay in your bed at night and you think, while I'm laying in my bed, that person is laying under a hedge, you know.
Yeah.
It's very tough. That kind of stuff's tough for me. You know?
Yeah, and I do think that, like you say, this is a time of things equalizing a little bit. It's actually in many ways forcing us to pay attention to more things, and that's what I'm feeling really grateful for. That we get blazing through our days and weeks, and those kinds of issues we don't pay attention to. We don't pay attention to, you know, for sure. Health professionals have been dealing with hundreds of people that die every day, always. It's not just now. And so I think that there is a really important thing now to sit up and pay attention. And I think those of us, I don't know if I'm always included in this, but those of us who are very sensitive to human need, it really is a time where, you know, although we want to step away from the pain, it's actually time to press into the pain and kind of be sad for the things that our crazy busy life has caused us to kind of become numb to, and to really care for each other. And I think that is a great gift of this time.
I agree. Yeah.
Do you have another song for us? We'd love to.
I do. Yeah, I'd like to do a song. I wrote this one. Just they're essentially a collection of conversations that I had with some people that I know who are homeless in our town, and I put them together as if it's kind of one person or a couple of people talking, but actually it's a collection of a lot of different the actual things that people said to me, and I just wrote them in a song. And anyway, it goes like this. I woke this morning with you in my hair. A big old deer was giving me the stare, and a vile old man said, you can't sit down there. Yeah, and they grabbed my stuff and threw it in their van, treated me like I was less than a person, slapped me with a 500 fine and said, you ain't welcome here. I'm homeless, homeless. my skirt and I powdered my nose. I snorted some coke so I could hide my disgrace, and hoped to catch a lonely soul so I could make $20. And I thought of my son as I gave head in the alley. One more excuse like I got from my daddy. Where, oh where will the pain ever end? Oh, and foxes have holes and birds have nests. The Son of Man has nowhere to rest. Nowhere to rest. Nowhere to rest. I'm homeless. Oh, homeless. Homeless. But not nameless. Still heaven blessed. Still heaven blessed.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Not nameless. And yeah, again, it's such a time where we do get to pay attention to who all those people are. Yeah. And who each other are, I guess. Can you do another song right away? Because our time is ticking and we want to hear more music.
Good. Okay, I'll do this one. This is kind of more of a bluesier kind of a song. Well, I've seen you mistreating your baby, treating her with no respect, taking her for granted instead of placing jewels around her neck. Well, you in need of more schooling. Ain't you learned your lesson yet? Well, it's a fool who gets the treasure and squanders it. Well, if you just keep taking without giving, one day the well won't dry. You gotta love, squeeze, and cherish that girl as you lose your butterfly. Well, you in need of more schooling. Ain't you learned your lesson yet? It's a fool who gets the treasure, squanders it. Well, it's a fool. Ooh, it's a fool, yeah, who gets a girl so precious and then treats her oh so cruel. Well, you in need of more school. Ain't you learned your lesson yet? Well, it's a fool who gets the treasure. It's a doggone fool who gets the treasure. It's a fool who gets the treasure and squanders it.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. I'm actually thinking about Russ and I were crossing the street the other day and there was a husband and wife going for a walk, which Russ and I do every evening since all of this happened. And they're going for a walk and they're arguing about which path they should go. And, and the wife suddenly turns to me and she goes, "So we'll find out how many divorces happen after this COVID time."
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part, and it's the best part, I guess, is that we're getting real about the things that are intense between us, and not squandering the good relationships that we have.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's good. Yeah, teaches you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because here in Canada, we're in BC, right? But
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have become really aware of is that often, and this is a slightly new topic again, but often artists can see and understand things well before the rest of the public sees and understands it.
Right.
I don't know why that is. Maybe because, sometimes you're not in the real world. I don't know. But from what you've been seeing for a number of years, what would you want to say to the world around you of, kind of the pulse that you've been taking on the world and that you would want to say right now in this time? And not necessarily just about this time, but kind of in general. What have you been seeing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've had an opportunity in my life to travel a lot. I've been to 5 different continents around the earth, and I've seen lots of different ways of living and people who live in different ways and stuff. And I've experienced the harshness of the extremes of socialism and stuff like that. I've seen that, and I've seen the harshness. I remember living in the UK when Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister, and how hard it was to live in Wales at that time and see just how hard a capitalist thing is, a really strong capitalist thing, and how brutal that was for people, especially in rural communities and like in Wales and places like that. So I've come to realize that from seeing different extremes around the world, and that's just a couple of things, but the whole kind of political thing, the solutions politically for life, is in all of those things in some ways, but it's in none of them completely. And it's very interesting that people in previous to this are arguing a lot about, socialism and capitalism. You see a lot of it in America with the whole thing and all that kind of stuff. But it's very, what I've noticed recently is just how, when we actually need help, like a lot of people are in a situation now where they really, really need help, it's really good to have a kind of like a socialist ethos in the sense of actually, like being there to help people who really need it. I'm not talking about the extreme social. I'm just talking about a social awareness of helping people who need help. And I believe in free enterprise. I really believe in that. And seeing businesses not able to function right now and create wealth and money for people and work and all that is really hard as well. So I think that's what I've really seen is the sense of like, we really, the extreme politics of it all is one thing, but a sense of like understand that politics means the polis is like all of society. That's what it actually means as a Greek word. And I think it's kind of like interesting that right now we're seeing the need for there to be all of those kind of facets actually coming through for us all to be helped, right now. Yeah. So it's a bit long-winded, but that's kind of what I see. Yeah.
And I think that really is what's happening in all our nations is that it's exposing the strength and or weakness of who each of us are as nations.
Yeah.
And I do think that I agree that it all comes down to how we care for the least, most disadvantaged of our culture. And if we're not touching down there as an emphasis, then we're missing something as a culture.
Yeah.
And I think that this is going to really expose some of the flaws in capitalism, perhaps.
I'm. You know me well. I don't get involved with politics that much.
I think that isn't actually the point. I think it really is how much our societies give room to care for those that have need. That's the main thing.
And isn't it ironic that right now the ones who are heroes are the ones who are the caregivers, and and that's how it should be. Because that's actually how life actually really is. It's not like pop stars don't matter much right now. It's really interesting. Not that all pop stars. I mean, that's a calling in itself, but I mean the celebrity cult that we have, and is. And our ability to spend money is not there. Yeah. So our religion of capitalism is not able to prosper right now. So we're having to find other things that give us life, Yep. It's very interesting.
That's a good word. Wow. Really good word. And Justin, see, I did it again. What is my today? Graham. It's because Graham and Russ and Justin have been on tour quite a bit together, and so it just it's the two British guys, and
Well, from my point of view, I'm very honored to be associated with Justin. So there you go. I like that man.
He's a good man. He's a good man. Do you want to give us another song before we have to sign out?
Absolutely.
It would be great.
I'm going to do the one that is my most recent that I just wrote a couple of days ago.
Awesome.
And it's about, you'll hear what it's about. Yeah, I'm bombing down the Harry's Road on the A133. Me and my brothers out riding, heading down to Clacton on the Sea. Me on the Bonneville, Gary on the PSA, Dougie on the area. I'm sorry, I got a call coming in. Yeah, burning up on Marine Parade, sun shining down on chrome. Crash the gears, passing the pier, rattling the megaphone. Yeah, me on the Bonneville, Gary on the PSA, and Dougie on the area. Oh yeah, ever riding? Yeah, I'll be motorbike riding in the British way. Oh yeah. Went for a couple of beers at the Full Throttle Cafe. Some bullet riding Essex girls were showing us the feel-good way. Yeah, me on the Bonneville, Gary on the BSA, Dougie on the area. Yeah, me on the Bonneville, Gary on the PSA, and Dougie on the area.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. I think when I record it, I'm going to keep that phone ringing thing. Yeah,
especially that particular tone. Oh, that's good stuff. Wow. Graham, we're looking
Well, I hope people in England will really get that, because there's not many songs.
Callum Reese was just posting some things to say.
Was he?
The road from Cloister to Colchester. See? Colchester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see? Everyone from England's going, oh, great, a song about Clacton. This is like awesome. No one sings about Clacton. Oh, that's funny. So good. Yeah, I wanted to write a song about British motorbikes because they are the best motorbikes.
Okay.
Okay.
I know nothing. That's goodness.
Well, Graham, it's been so great having you. Really love hearing from your heart. We hope you'll do it again at some point. For those of you who are following these Fridays with us, next week we get Sherry Elric, which is pretty exciting. We love Sherry, and she has been kind of a regular at Bez in her various iterations, as has Graham. Just in case any of you are interested in supporting any of this stuff, obviously because there are not concerts being held and Graham is unable to perform and we're unable to open our venue, we do have an opportunity if you guys want to support what it is that we're doing. Not a necessary thing. We're doing this because we want to. But in case you do, we're going to post all that later. If anything comes up in our feed, we know that some people are setting up false paywalls and getting people to support. Doesn't look like there's any right now, but just our post at the end of the feed will actually give you the proper information. But do you have anything else to say, Russ?
No, just that we'll put that up there in just a second. Just I think also, Graham, you can follow Graham on Spotify and some of those other things. Get online and support Graham. That would be great. The link that Sandy's going to put up in a second has Graham's website, and there's a link for donating there, and there's also a link on this for donating to Bez if you want to support what we're doing with Bez. We'll put that up. But this is good, Graham. You're a star. You're a star. I like it.
You're a pop star.
Yeah. Unnecessary.
Oh my.
Okay. Well,
I want to say thanks to you guys for doing this because it's really great. I mean, you two are irrepressible. You know, you could literally drive a tank over and you still get up and art would come out of you. You know what I mean? So I love what you guys are doing. I love Bez, as you know, and I really hope that you do find those ways to be my camera went out weird there. I don't know if that happened to your end.
No, we're good.
Okay, yeah. Just that you do find ways of sustaining what you're doing because it's not easy right now. And so, yeah, God bless you too.
Thanks,
Bless you,
Graham.
Yeah, you too.
Well, we are going to sign out for now. We'll leave on the screen the information for how you can support, and also keep an eye on our Facebook site for our next concert, and actually what we're kind of talking about calling it. You guys can, kind of vote in on this. Thinking about calling it The Voice of the Artist.
The voice.
Or is that just too...
The voice of the artist.
It's better than the fart of the artist.
We could not get out on a good note, could we, Graham? Yeah. There you go. Anyways, great having you all with us. We will have all of this posted on YouTube, and it'll be on our Facebook site for a little while as well. So if you want to invite any friends in on the feed, we'd love it. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, should we put this? We'll put up Graham's little thing here. I think it's this slide. See if it goes. Oops, I'm on the wrong button. Hang on a sec. Hang on.
Oh.
Okay, Graham, it's coming up.
I want to just change.
There we go. See you guys again.
We'll see you all soon.
Bye-bye.
Can you see me?
Wait a second. Graham's got something to show us.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
We forgot about that.
Hold on, wait.
Where's your head? I love it.
Thank you, Graham, for keeping us happy.
Keeping us happy.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, dear.